Holy shit, guys! Look at this Look at it. Look at this shot. Isn't this amazing? For the audio listeners, this shot is fucking amazing. Holy shit! I can't see myself right now. Camera kind of far away, but when I was fiddling with it earlier, I thought it looked pretty good. Anyway, this is serious, guys. This is serious, Herfords, the only listener and watcher. We can't make any jokes in the comment section of this video because today I'm talking about a phobia. A very real phobia that I had, maybe have, I don't know. But, no, I don't think so anymore. I feel like I had it at one point and it's just went below, I've pulled it below that bar to where it's still, I haven't even said what it is yet. Basically, emetophobia is, the fear of vomiting. Or maybe it's the fear of watching others vomit. It can also be the fear of vomiting in front of others. I don't have a fear of vomiting in front of others. I don't have a fear of watching other people vomit. I could very happily, eat a meal while, watching someone vomit, in front of me in person. I could very happily pretend to throw up in front of someone in like a prank skit or whatever. When I put the oatmeal in my mouth and pretend to throw up in front of people. For me, it's very literally just vomiting that I'm gonna say was afraid of. I kind of didn't want to, I was kind of afraid of vocalizing a lot of this because it would make me think about it. I don't want to overthink it, and I don't want to make myself think that I'm still afraid of it. But we'll get to that. Yeah, it's basically my fear was that, and it's basically I feel like it stems from when I probably just growing up having very bad experiences with vomiting. That's probably where it usually comes from. I guess it might have been more of a social issue if I had a bad experience with vomiting in front of other people. For me, it was just literally like I would be, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and throw up acid, because of acid reflux and just, burning my insides and being completely disorientated and stuff like it. Instills fear, right? And if that happens more than, any other kind of vomiting, then you get an idea in your head of how vomiting is and how awful it is. And I think that's why that's where my fear came from. And it's basically stayed that way until the other day. And I want to say until the other day because I now believe that if I were to get the feeling in the middle of the night like I'm going to be sick, I wouldn't try and hold it in, which is what I always would do, which would obviously make it worse. And I understand that, and I've always understood that. But it's almost like, even though the moment it comes up, it's fine. Even while it's coming up, it's fine. Even while it's coming up, it can, I'm an adult now. I know that it maybe will burn or whatever, but even while it's coming up, it feels like a good thing that's happening. It feels like a cleansing experience. But still, I would just struggle to let it happen. And so basically I had never ever voluntarily thrown up in my entire life. It would always just get to the point where I have to throw up. Like my body is saying, no, it's coming up. And so basically I only ever had the fear perpetuated itself because I would only ever have horrible experiences vomiting because I was so afraid of vomiting that I would make them all horrible by holding it in for so long. And maybe if I wasn't so afraid of vomiting, I would have had more vomiting experiences because I would have been like, oh, I feel sick, I'm going to go throw up. And instead of holding it in. Because, like overeating or whatever, you could throw up from that. But I most likely wouldn't. I would be more likely to, try and hold it in. And so I wouldn't have, and that would be a more pleasant vomiting experience, just vomiting. How many times can I say the word vomit? That would be a more pleasant vomiting experience, just vomiting, basically food from overeating instead of, like, you've actually been food poisoned or your stomach has just went insane in producing, like, acid and shit. And so I think, it perpetuated itself. Last year, I threw up for the first time in 6 years. Not because I chose to, but because my body forced me to. I was food poisoned. I've spoken about this a few times. I basically ate off sour cream deliberately. I was eating it and I knew it was off. But it was also kind of just tasted more sour. So I was like, that's fine. That was retarded. Since then, I think made me more afraid of throwing up because it was a horrible experience throwing up. I could barely walk. I was very badly food poisoned. I had diarrhea and vomiting and very, very unwell. Only for 24 hours, but still, it was horrible feeling that out of control and weak. That, if my parents weren't in the house, I wouldn't be able to trust myself to walk to the toilet by myself without passing out. And just feeling that out of control really, like, made me think, okay, I can't be sick. I can't get to that point anymore. And so, let me check on. Holy shit, we got a lot of time. And so, I guess that for the past 6 months, that happened September last year. So yeah, for about the past 6 months, I have been very afraid of overeating to the point where I'm undereating. And I've lost weight, and it's not been good for my health and my blood pressure, blah, 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 blah. Basically, making myself unwell because I'm afraid of being unwell. And, I would often, if I wasn't hungry before I went to bed, I would be like, it would instill kind of like panic. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm not hungry. My stomach is full. That could come out, And so I would go to bed without dinner. I would eat a lot less for dinner, or whatever. Anyway, it wasn't good. I think I'm not trying to hold up. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I just know that I've seen a few videos on emetophobia in the past week, building up to what the conclusion of this story is. A very good spot in the story. I think just maybe someone out there could Google emetophobia, and this might be one of the 10 videos they watch or something, and then maybe it would make it a little less scary. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to establish how scared, how unbelievably terrified I have been of vomiting throughout my life. And yeah, so I guess it really manifested to where I'd only eat certain foods. I would get, that would make me sick in itself. I'd get nauseous from hunger, and that would make me scared, and I wouldn't even know what to do then. Okay, I feel nauseous from being hungry. I'm not going to eat if I'm feeling nauseous, right? Oh my god, it was fucking stupid. But, I think it eventually got to the point where I was like, I didn't lose like a lot of weight, but I realized, having been down that path before, I gotta do something. I can't continue to go down this path, and I need to do something. So I started trying to eat a lot, and I think what can happen is your stomach kind of shrinks, right? I'm not sure how this works, but basically I found it hard to eat a good amount of food, probably because my stomach shrunk. That's why I assume it might be some other thing. I started eating more, and I started feeling better, but the fear of throwing up was still there. Whenever I felt sick, I would stay up all night over throwing up. Until basically I decided I need to throw up. I need to expose myself to this in a way that is kind of, I'm deciding to, right? I'm deciding to make myself sick. So I tried it once, just spare of the moment when I had the idea. I was like, okay, I need to do it now. I need to throw up. And I can do it. I tried. I threw up a little bit in the back of my throat, but the fear is so strong that I instantly swallowed it. So like even throwing up into my mouth and swallowing it, in my mind, is preferable to throwing up and letting it out, which is insane. And that's when I realized this holds no bearing in reality. It's pure just the feeling of terror, right? That this is me letting anxiety get the better of me. And by allowing that, I'm allowing anxiety to get the better of me in other ways of my life, which are, everyone deals with anxiety, but I feel like letting this get a hold of it amplified all my other anxious tendencies. If that makes sense. Just checking the bat on this thing because it's quite kind of low. But anyway, then yeah. So then I after that I decided on a day that I would do it. I decided Wednesday I am going to throw up. That's the day I'm going to wake up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to... At first I was like, I'll just drink water and then throw it up. But then on the day I kind of realized... Well, building up to it, I kind of realized, actually, I don't want any doubt in my mind about that, whether I throw up or not, and would water count, whatever. Of course it does count, but I decided on ice cream and fizzy drinks. And so I woke up first thing in the morning with energy, so it wasn't the middle of the night, where I think the fear came from, like being just exhausted in the middle of the night, unable to really think, feeling completely out of control. And I think at night as well, being tired, you're more likely to give in to your fears. I think you become more, at least for me, I become more driven by automatic responses that I have within me when I'm tired. So if I'm afraid of something, I'm more likely to avoid it. If I feel like something will make me happy, I'll be, I won't think too far ahead kind of thing. I won't have critical thinking. But in the morning, I can be like, okay, this is the start of the day. My brain is on as much as it will ever be. My stomach is empty of anything that could cause acidity in my stomach to make this. This is going to be the most pleasant vomit experience I can. And just to prove that I can, to myself, that I can do it without dying. Which obviously I know isn't going to happen. But knowing it doesn't really matter when you've just got such a horrible feeling. So I thought, okay, I'm going to... And also at the end of the day, it can kind of feel like you're dying. It can feel like this is the end of the day or the middle of the night or whatever. It feels like throwing up is the end. But in the morning, I knew I had a day ahead of me. I was meeting Ella. I was thinking about what I was going to do in the day. And so I knew my brain couldn't help but to think, this isn't the end. This is clearly just the beginning of the day. Which it was, obviously. And so then anyway, I went and got the ice cream. I started eating it, getting a little nauseous, eating ice cream first thing in the morning, getting a little headache from the sugar, drinking sugary soda. if you're gonna try this, I recommend sugary stuff. I also, it's weird to recommend people to vomit if you have emetophobia. I don't know, because obviously you don't wanna go too far the other way where you're just purging all the time. Especially when emetophobia and poor eating habits and all that's kind of linked in together, and having a weird relationship with food. I don't know if it would go the other way for certain people, but I do feel weird about telling people to throw up, knowing there's a whole other problem people have where they purge all the time and make themselves sick all the time. But I think for this specific fear, and for me specifically, it really helped to eat this food that I knew would come up nicely, and the soda would kind of keep it. It wouldn't let anything settle in my stomach very easily. And I basically bent over, so my neck was below my stomach, and just tried to gag. And I didn't use my fingers, I just used my stomach muscles. And it was scary, and eventually when the first bit came out, I started laughing. I was like, holy shit. I fucking did it. And I was laughing. And then I kept going. I think at that point I wanted to get out all of it out, because I was feeling unwell. Not unwell, but like kind of, you know how if you eat something you shouldn't, So I vomited it all out, and I kept going and going for like 10 minutes until I got to the point where I was just dry heaving. I was like, holy shit, I just emptied my stomach contents, and I filmed it. I made it a fun experience for myself. I played my retard character, like doing just doing a bit that I'm going to probably use for the main channel at some point, and just really had a fun time with it. And I was kind of euphoric about it, because it really felt good to like, I've watched a few videos, and I saw like a guy kind of say like, by taking the power, you're taking the power away from the fear. It's like kind of, saying fuck you to a bully or whatever. And that's really what it felt like. And I know it's so cliche to say, but that's exactly what it felt like. And it felt fucking awesome. I felt so good. I mean, immediately after, I felt sick and kind of lethargic, because I hadn't eaten anything, and I knew I wouldn't be able to for an hour or two until my stomach settles. But despite feeling unwell, which doesn't bother me actually, the feeling of being unwell, it's literally just the act that freaks me out, or freaked me out. Now that and then throughout the day, I just felt really fucking good about myself that I had done that. And I told everyone, and everyone's like, oh, well, that's great, It's like, yeah, you threw up, But I couldn't help myself. I had to tell everyone I felt great. And I think now next time that I throw up, I'm going to make sure that I'm in control of it. So I'm going to kind of get ahead of it a little bit. If I wake up in the middle of the night like, oh shit, I guess I didn't cook that food right, or I didn't whatever, I'm going to try my best to make sure that I am I recognize, okay, I've instantly went into trying to hold this in. Why am I doing that? So that I can experience a worse version of what's going to happen later on less sleep? Or do I just want to get it up, go back to sleep, maybe wake up again, throw up, and go back to sleep, and then at least the next day I won't be running on empty, right? I think that would, and I kind of, part of me is worried because I don't believe fully that I will be able to do it, but then I have to remember, I almost didn't believe at all that I would do it on Wednesday, and I threw my guts up on Wednesday, and I was sitting over the toilet, just doing it, and I was fully in the moment. I wasn't dissociating. I was just fully okay, I'm going to try and throw up. It's coming up. I'm recognizing that I can't breathe for like 2 seconds, but I'm also recognizing that the moment I need to breathe, I'm able to take a breath. I'm recognizing that I can control the stomach muscles that make you throw up, and trying to just keep in mind the only reason it's been so scary is because of my bad experience, but also because it never really happens, right? Last time I threw up since last Wednesday was September last year. The last time before that was July 2014. And the last time before that was years before that as well. And I can't remember the last time before that. Yeah, just trying to recognize, like, it's fine, right? And there's no real reason to actually be afraid. And that I didn't believe that I would do it on Wednesday, but I did. And so I'm maybe what I'm worried about is that the feel will come back, and that now I'm thinking I gotta throw up again to continue not being afraid. But that's where I'm saying you gotta stop at a certain point. You don't want to be thrown up all the time. I think I think it reached like the 20-minute mark of me like eating ice cream, throwing up, just because I was so euphoric and proud of myself for what I was doing. At a certain point, I had to stop myself because I was like, okay, I can't just do this for hours. I mean, I could have, and I would have been happy about it, I think. But I noticed, like, okay, this isn't actually, I'm not really benefiting from this experience anymore. I'm more, I'm the novelty obviously didn't wear off before I realized, I had to recognize that it was a novelty that, and the excitement and stuff, and probably the sugar coursing through me, that I was like, holy shit, this is awesome, I need to keep going. Because I was filming as well at the same time, and I wanted to make sure I was getting good takes of it, me saying something stupid and throwing up. But I think, yeah, I think that's where I'm a little bit like, hold up, maybe don't, maybe it's not for, maybe exposure therapy isn't for everyone. But I think it was definitely for me. And I think there was a certain point where I was trying to tell myself that it's okay, that I don't need to make myself sick, because it's okay to it's okay to, I had some weird backwards thing in my brain where I was like, the part that I'm afraid of, when it happens, it will be it won't be scary. It's the build up that I don't find the build up scary, but I kind of do. I prefer the build up over the vomiting, I think, but I'm scared during the build up. When it happens, I'm fine. So really, as long as I can recognize that, then next time I get sick, in the build up while I'm worried about it and I'm feeling sick, as long as I remember when it happens it'll be fine, then really I shouldn't be afraid. However, put into practice that didn't work, because I would still hold it in, because I still hadn't ever in my life intentionally thrown up until last Wednesday. First time in my life I fucking intentionally threw up and proved to myself I can control that bodily function. And now I want to say now all I need to do is put it into practice, but I already kind of have, right? I've already thrown up. It's just next time, unless I do more practicing, which I probably won't, because I think I believe in myself that I can. Next time it probably will be more horrible, right? It's going to be, but that's not my fear, really. I don't think I'm afraid of it being more horrible. I think if I had food poisoning right now, and I felt sick, that I would throw up, and I wouldn't wander around the garden desperately trying to hold it in. I think I would throw up. and I have to believe that in my brain. Anyway, that's that. We've got about 5 minutes left. I'm gonna read a comment from last step. I think there's only one comment, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that shit. Hopefully it'll help someone, maybe, or maybe you'll find it interesting. Yeah, because it's a weird fear, right? And obviously no one likes vomiting, but I don't think I have emetophobia anymore. Because I'm not afraid. I'm even planning on doing. I'm thinking, I haven't really made a definitive plan yet, but I'm devising. This is something I would never do. I'm trying to think of ways I can utilize my newfound ability to throw up in videos. Because I'm thinking, well, if I do another First We Eat, I can very happily eat more of the disgusting food, knowing that I'll just throw it back up, and it'll be funny to throw up on video, or like, just doing gross out videos by myself. I don't know. And in IRL interviews, wanting to throw up in front of people would be easier if I just ingested the stuff first and then throw up in front of them, instead of trying to sneak it into my mouth or whatever mid-interview and spitting it up. So yeah, I think there's only positives that have come from this. So, whatever. I guess I've spoken about this enough. I'm gonna read a comment now from a guy. Name of Her Thoughts. It's so much fun to read the captions that never get it right. Here you're saying, okay, so let's read Her Thoughts comment, whereas the caption is saying, yeah, okay, on his headphones coming. The closed captions doesn't understand you better than I do. I'm sorry, Her Thoughts. I apologize to Her Thoughts, but Her Thoughts said, apologize not for speech impediments as I was mocking the closed captions. They don't match up with any video. Before I click on the Google bell to find my daily dose of obligation videos. Oh, okay. Sorry. I should really read my comment. I said, I have a question for you. What videos do you watch on YouTube, not out of obligation? This is because Her Thoughts is obliged to watch my videos. He has to. And he'll tell you the same thing. And he watches he has to watch many other small YouTubers as well. I think the camera might go out soon. I'm gonna just let it go out and keep maybe, I don't know, let's see if we can fit it in. Anyway, he says before I click on the Google bell to find my daily dose of obligation video notifications, I run down my feed page to line up what I actually want to watch, and I have to get through all you guys before I get to the videos that I want to watch. So that's how he does it. He has these videos he doesn't want to watch that he watches first. Although I think, yeah, I would never get around to watching people's videos either if I didn't do that. And that's the reason I don't have like these obligation videos. I just kind of browse YouTube and do whatever the fuck. Those are the open tabs that I spoke of. Most of them are conservative channels such as Steve Crowder, Matt Walsh, and my hero, Gavin McKinney's. And he linked some funny videos with, I believe, Copperhead. Some conservative interviews. And political... Holy shit, the camera stopped. Political comedy. That's not a word, political comedy. I remember trying to subtitle my video where I say political, and I was stuck on it for hours trying to learn how to spell political, and I realized it wasn't a word. But anyway, that's gonna do it for the pod. I believe that's the only comment I've got, and yeah, thanks for listening to my serious story. No comedy comments, guys. I'm serious this time. I'd be so upset. I actually don't give a fucking shit.